Hello, and welcome to this demo on screen scraping and data scraping. In this demo, we'll take a closer look at two output mechanisms in the UiPath Studio, namely screen scraping and data scraping. Let's begin with screen scraping. We've previously seen how to use getText, which is one of the most used UI automation output activities. However, it can only extract text from one single element. Picture a use case where we need to extract text from a wider range of UI elements in an application. For that, we can use the screen scraping tool to extract raw text as a string value from any element, image, or region in any application. It offers three methods to extract data. They are full text, native, and optical character recognition, also known as OCR. Depending on the method used, it generates getFullText, getVisibleText, or getOCR text activities. Let's see an example using the double UI application. We want to extract the information on the right side of the double UI application interface, which is deposit transaction. Let's create a new process, provide a name and description. We'll open Screen Scraping Wizard from the Design ribbon. We can select either Indicate a UI element, which is selected by default, or a region. This choice depends on the type of application and element you want to scrape, and it is best to try out the method that retrieves the best results for your case. For this demo, let's go with UI element. The default scraping method is full text. We can see that text was extracted correctly. Let's try native. So choose native and hit refresh. We can see that the native method did not extract any data. And finally, let's try OCR too. For OCR, we have three engines available: Microsoft OCR, Tesseract OCR, and UiPath Screen OCR. The UiPath Screen OCR requires an API key. The OCR method treats the indicated area as an image and tries to read the text. We can try out Microsoft and Tesseract options to identify which output has the highest accuracy. As we can see that the text identified with these OCR engines is not 100% accurate. Note that it is recommended to use OCR as the last resort or when we don't have access to the UI elements. In our case, since the full text method retrieved the correct text, let's choose it, hit refresh, and click Finish. Let's name the new sequence Screen Scraping Demo and click Create. In the generated workflow, we can see a getFullText activity inside the attach window. Let's rename the activities, and we'll also add some annotations for documentation purposes. Once that is done, we'll also create a string variable deposit transaction text, which will contain our text for the getFullText activity. We'll change the scope of the variable to Screen Scraping Demo. We'll add this variable in the text property. Next, let's add a log message activity to print the extracted text to the output panel. We'll enter our variable in the message property field. Let's run the workflow. Great! It works perfectly. We can see the data from the double UI app is displayed in the output panel. Now that we have covered how screen scraping works, let's check out data scraping. Data scraping is a functionality of UiPath Studio that enables us to extract structured data from our browser application or documents and output it to a database, CSV file, or even Excel spreadsheet. Let's take an example. All Google search results have the same structure: the title at the top, a string for the URL, and the description of the web page. This structure allows Studio to easily extract the information. The Data Scraping Wizard outputs an Extract Structured Data activity, which returns a data table. Let's now develop a workflow that will search Google for data scraping videos and scrape the title, URL, and upload date for the first 50 results and output a CSV file with this information. Let's create a new sequence workflow and call it Data Scraping Demo. We'll also add an annotation to document what the workflow does. The first step we need to perform before running a search on Google is to open a browser. Let's drag an Open Browser activity and insert the Google URL. We'll choose Edge Browser for our use case. Next, we need to type the search term into the search bar. So, let's add a type into activity and indicate the search bar. Let's rename the activity and add the data scraping string within the quotation marks into the text field. For the search to execute, we need to add a send hotkey activity to press enter. So, let's add one and rename it. Then we'll indicate the search bar and choose enter for the key field. Great! Now in the results page, we want to capture the results under the Videos tab. For this, let's type data scraping in the search bar and keep the result page open for us to indicate the Videos tab. Now, we'll add a click activity and indicate the Videos tab. Let's save and run the workflow. It works perfectly. Now we'll add the data scraping step to this process. From the Design ribbon, let's select the Data Scraping wizard and choose Next. The search results have the same structure: a link at the top, a string of the URL, upload date, and description. Now we need to teach Studio this pattern of information. To do that, we'll select the first video title. We'll click Next. And to create a pattern, we'll click the second video title as well. As we can see, the pattern has been identified by Studio. Let's rename the text column to Title. We'll also extract the URLs and rename the column URL. Okay, let's click Next. As we can see in the preview, we've captured the titles and URLs of all the videos on the first page. Next, we'll teach Studio to capture the video upload dates. Let's select Extract Correlated Data. Indicate the first video upload date. Click Next and indicate the second video's upload date. Let's rename this column to Date and click Next. If we look at the preview, we can see that the date is captured as well. We'll set the maximum number of results property to 50. This means that we aim to get 50 results or less. Let's click Finish. We get a prompt asking us if the data is spanning multiple pages. Since this is the case, we'll select Yes and indicate the Next button on the Google page. We can see a data scraping sequence is generated in the current workflow with an attached browser scope. The resulting data table is stored in the Extract Data Table variable. Let's rename the variable by adding a prefix DT as per the naming convention. Let's update the scope of the Extract Data Table variable to the Data Scraping Demo sequence. Now let's move the activity under Click and delete the attached browser, since the surrounding Open Browser activity has the same target. For the last step, we want to save the extracted data to a CSV file, so we'll add a Write CSV activity. Write CSV activity is used to copy and paste the table data in a specified CSV file. It replaces any existing data in the file. We'll learn about this activity in detail in the Data Tables and Excel Automation with Studio course. Enter the file name with extension, where we want to copy the data. If the file is not existing, it'll create a new file with the name provided. Next, we'll provide the data table from where the data must be copied. In our case, it is Extract Data Table. We'll also add a Close Tab activity to close the opened tab after the data is scraped. Let's run our workflow. The workflow is executed, and we can see how multiple pages are browsed to capture the data. Let's refresh the project folder to find the Excel sheet we created. Okay, now let's check the output CSV file. Great! We have captured the first 50 results. With this, we conclude our demo on the basic capabilities of screen scraping and data scraping mechanisms. Screen scraping is used to extract raw text from any element, image, or region in an application, whereas data scraping is used to extract structured data from browser, application, or a document to the database, .csv file, or even Excel spreadsheet. So, in this demo, we extracted deposit transaction data using screen scraping method and the structured Google search results using data scraping method. Recall the steps by trying both the methods in your system. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Until then, happy automation!